I was divorced and I spent about 6 years being single and dating. And I do not envy anyone who's out in the dating scene these days because it's hard.
For
And it
sure.
was 10 years ago and 11 years ago, but I was online dating and I ended up at a movie theater with someone we went to high school with.
Welcome back to the Swayside Connection podcast. On today's episode, who do we have here?
Chrissi.
What up, Chrissy? It's good having Chrissy here with us. I feel like if you watch the podcast, we definitely have a lot of guys. So I really appreciate it when girls come on the podcast and, come and share their experiences with YouTube watchers and Spotify watchers out there. And yeah, what are you drinking?
So I've got resting brunch face here. I had an interesting
Wow,
day at work.
resting.
So I've come prepared to be relaxed and ease into my evening. So cheers.
Nice. Cheers. Resting brunch face. What is that, by the way?
It's a
Is that
mimosa.
like it's already
So
mixed?
yeah, so we have Aldi here in I'm in Missouri,
Yes.
everybody. We have Aldi and they have amazing things that you can't get at other places. And I definitely am
Yes.
taking advantage of that until we move again, which is this year. We'll be moving again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome because your drink matches that sign behind you too. Like you kind of have a whole theme in that room. I love it. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, and let's party is one of the things that we say around here, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. If you throw let's party at it, it kind of just gets you moving to the next thing. So if you're having a bad day, you're just like, all right, let's party. Or if it's a good thing, all right, let's party. So we say let's party.
Love it. That's awesome. That's if I had a sign like that, mine would be let's go. I would have a
Let's
let's
go.
go
I
with
like
like
that.
multiple O's, like let's go. How did you hear about this podcast that you're currently on right now?
Oh my gosh. So you reached out to me and you kind of said, you said we don't have a lot of ladies. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? So I went ahead and I went through every single one. I sent it to a bunch of friends from the area and they all watched
Yes.
it and they were like, that's pretty dope. And they were like, are you going to do it? And I was like, I don't see why not. Let's go. Right. Oh, let's go.
Let's go. That's what I mean. Let's go. Heck
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Okay,
yeah.
awesome. Thank you for coming on and blessing the Soyside Connection podcast. So I like to also start. So, like, where were you born and like what elementary did you go to? And like, when did you come to Spanaway? I guess
Oh man.
it's like,
Yeah, it's a lot. So I was actually born in Wyoming and
okay.
my dad was Air Force. And interesting fun fact, we moved to Washington State the day Mount St. Helens erupted, May 18th, 1980. So
Oh,
as everybody's driving out of the state, we're driving into the state. And I guess we made it on time for my dad to report. We lived in Tacoma right away. So Hilltop in the 80s. That's
yep,
where we
yep.
lived. Yeah. I went to a couple different elementary schools just because we moved quite a bit. Bryant Elementary School, Whitman Elementary School, a bunch of them. They're still there. But yeah, so we ended up finding a house in Puyallup the year that they changed the district boundaries, where we would have been to Puyallup schools. So we ended up in the Bethel School District just because they moved that line. So then we ended up at Natchez Trail, where I met a bunch of awesome kids and sort of began our journey through school together.
Nice. Like, who'd you
Yeah.
meet over there?
Honestly, I can't remember some of them. I don't remember when we met, but I remember
Yeah.
a lot of the kids. Like there was a kid named Shane. I think like you might not remember her, but I met her there, and we traveled through junior high and high school together. But there were a bunch of kids who military feeder schools, right?
Yeah.
So we sort of went in and out of schools. They came back. Some went away for junior high, didn't see them, came back for high school. But a lot of the kids I remember from elementary school, always the first names, never the last names. And then I remember seeing there was a kid named Shane in high school. Angela was junior high and high school. Yeah, my favorite friend that I met that I went through junior high and high school was Janet. And I really need you to get her on here because we have talked and she has said she would if I did it. So here I am, Janet.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you went to Natchez Trail.
Yeah.
That's awesome. After Natchez Trail, you went to
Stanley
Spanaway.
Jr. Yep.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, do you have any like memories, favorite teachers, favorite classes from your junior high or even elementary days?
Yes, I had a teacher, Miss Spry, and she was like so glamorous to me. I wanted to be Miss Spry when I grew up, but she was just so glamorous and so graceful, and she made me want to learn. She would walk into the room and just, I swear there were fans blowing her hair back, and she was just so graceful. It didn't actually happen, but that was my perception of how amazing she was. And it was also a little bit of ADHD that was probably doing that, like just glamorizing everything. She was amazing. She definitely made me want to learn and want to be a teacher. I never ended up doing that. I still kind of have aspirations to be a teacher, but
Still can. Yeah,
I still can, still young.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, and then even in junior high, I have some good memories of friends and teachers. I was super active with sports, so every
Yeah,
time
I
there
was
was
just
a
gonna
sport,
ask. Yeah, so
yeah.
what were all your yeah, what were all your extracurriculars back
Yeah.
in junior high and stuff?
Yeah. So elementary school and junior high was mostly either t-ball up to softball, and then volleyball, soccer. I mean, I played soccer since I was 4, and it just was whatever was available. I was trying to do it, and I wanted to be the best at it.
It's
So
awesome.
so that was 4th grade. I did those. It was a bunch of elementary schools just broken up until Natchez Trail, and then I had that stability finally.
Yeah, even in that house, that was basically kind of Puyallup. So you were still
Yeah.
you were able to stay in that one house continuously throughout,
Yeah.
and the boundary lines, I guess, for the district
Yeah.
still
Yeah,
kept you in,
it kept me
kept you
in,
in with
that's all.
us.
I can yep, keeping it, yep, I was in with all y'all, yep.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So now you're in high school now, and then you're class of '98 with
98.
like with yeah, so that's awesome. And then same thing, like what were some of your memories from high school? Do you have
So
any
many,
special
so
one?
many,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is
so many. I don't know if anyone remembers. Do you remember the back stairwell that went down to the cafeteria? It was from the top and it went just straight down into the cafeteria. There were 2 stairwells, and this one, I fell down the stairs from the top all the way to the bottom. I tumbled. I had my hands in my pocket and I tripped and I went all the way down.
that
Yeah, I
one
was
that one
okay.
that one goes to the stoop, right? Is that the
So there
one?
was the one that goes right down. No, well, it was,
Or is that
we
by
just called
the
it the back stairwell. It went back to where the daycare was. It went back to the home ec room, but it also went straight into the cafeteria, just down where that big calendar used to be.
oh my gosh, I'm trying to like I mean it's so long ago, but yes, okay. I'm trying to
Okay,
think. I
so
need
it's
like
okay. It's okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Did
Bad
anybody
memory of
catch you?
that.
No,
What?
did anybody see that?
They know everybody saw it. Everybody watched me do it.
Damn.
Yeah, but I have really good ones too. I wanted to start with that one because I don't even know. I am kind kind of a klutz. I really did my very best not to let my freak flag fly all the time. Like I was just a klutz. So it was a lot of energy trying to just keep it cool. I was like, keep it cool. Always be cool. ABC, always be cool. But no, I have really good memories. Like I think I peaked in my senior year when I was like, I know a ton of people. I'm going to run for ASB. I want to be the activity coordinator. I was varsity soccer captain with Sarah, and I think that was when I really like had a grip on high school finally.
Yeah.
I kind of lived in the shadows of my sister because I was a sophomore when she was a senior and everybody knew her. So, and I was always Katie's little sister. So as soon as she was out, I was in. And I kind of like I figured it out and I felt pretty cool. ASB was really good for me. I have really good memories of that with Janet and all
Office
of our people. Yeah, our officers. Yeah. Yeah, really the one that really comes to mind, and I'll save some fun for Janet if she ever makes it on the show, was, and thinking about this now as an adult, it's kind of gross, but we went and got a toilet, and Janet and I decided we were going to make the Peppy Pooper. I don't know if you remember this at homecoming. Janet and I spent hours cleaning this toilet, like cleaning this
yes.
toilet. We painted it. The idea was we were going to put tickets in it for a raffle and wheel it out on a little a dolly at homecoming, and we would pull tickets out of the Peppy Pooper. So see, as an adult it sounds gross, but when you're
Yes.
a senior in high school, you're like, we need to make this
Creative.
interesting. Yeah, we wanted to make it interesting. Todd.
Yes.
We ended up calling this toilet the Toddy Potty because Todd accidentally let go of it and it hit a bump and shot the toilet off behind the bleachers and shattered the toilet before it could even make it out. So our Peppy Pooper turned into the Toddy Potty. And it's one of my best memories because the look on Todd's face of like, I'm so sorry. And then the look on Janet's face of, I'm going to kill you. And I just think that I think everything's funny. And so I love awkward situations. So I was like, this is amazing.
Total office moment. Yes. No, that's so awkward. Yeah.
It was so awkward. And even at that game, that homecoming game, I thought it'd be cool and jump over the chain link fence.
Wait,
And I
hold up. Back to the toilet thing though. So
yeah,
wait,
yeah, yeah.
how did that like, you know,
We're just
how
I
did
don't
that
think
end?
I don't know. I think I walked away. I'm pretty sure I just walked away because there was nothing to be done. All the ceramic toilet was all over the ground and Janet was really mad and I think I was just like I don't know what to do and I think I walked away
So
and
just had
nothing
to
came.
cut that whole bit out and no raffle thing happen, right?
I feel like maybe Janet tried to like salvage. Janet's really good at like
Yes.
saving something, you know, she's just really good at things like that. And I want to say that some of the toilets survived and they put the tickets in anyway, but I don't know because I was literally what happened was we were supposed to get in the back of the cars for the homecoming court and then the ASB officers were in the back of these Sebrings, which I thought were so cool. These convertibles. I jumped the chain link fence. Remember that around the
Yes.
track? I tried to jump it. I thought I was like, I'm an athlete. I can jump this. I ripped my jeans like almost off. Mr. Joseph, the best he could do was grab masking tape and he like made jeans where there weren't jeans. And so I could
Oh
sit
my
on the back.
gosh.
It was so bad. What you guys probably never saw behind the scenes are definite office moments. Like totally.
Yes, yes. And I love The Office, so that's why it's like one of my favorite like comfort shows. I'll just throw it
Yes.
on to just,
Yeah.
and
Background noise. Yeah.
but it's funny how the awkward moments make me comfortable. Like seeing other
Right.
people's
Yes.
awkwardness makes me comfortable. So,
That's my whole life, Heinz. I mean, if someone's having an awkward moment, I'm like,
yes.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like, oh wow,
Yeah.
I'm glad I get to witness this. This is because there's so many parts of life that are so mundane, and people are always so polite, and it's just like, it's just so boring sometimes. So to
So
see something,
boring.
any type of interesting is amazing. So, but
So,
sorry,
yes. It's
I
okay.
think I cut you off because you were starting another story. Sorry, like I love these. These are
These
just
stories roll into other stories. Yeah.
yeah, I love them. I love them. This is, and I think this is what people really like enjoy. I mean, this is what I enjoy is like if you can remember them. And a lot of people
Yeah.
say, "Man, it's like it's hard to remember." And a lot of them are hard to remember. But if you can,
Yeah.
these are gold. These are
Oh,
all
yeah.
so
Oh,
gold.
yeah.
So
I mean, I can remember all kinds of other things too. I remember posters, making posters. I mean, I was at school at like 6 a.m. I was leaving at 6:30 p.m. If there was a
wow,
football game, I was making posters, or I had a team of people doing something. Or, but I tell you what, senior year was pretty cool, and I tell my son all the time he's getting ready to graduate, just to make the most of it and
yeah,
enjoy
and
it.
you did. I feel like you did. You really did, especially that.
I
But
loved it.
like, yeah, I mean, so you did all the sports, and then did you do any of non-sports extracurricular activities sophomore, junior year?
So that goes into the next things. I so I had a whole other life outside of Spanaway Junior High. I was super involved in youth group in church.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so a lot of my friends were from Spanaway, but also a lot of my friends were from Franklin Pierce. So I had really good friends on one side and really good friends on the other side. And so if I wasn't at Spanaway Lake doing a football game or a soccer game or doing some kind of support or helping in a concession stand or something, I was on a retreat or I was camping or I was doing, lock-ins or I mean, we were doing concession stands for youth group at the stadium for baseball. We were very active, a very active youth group. But that's where I met my best friend. Yeah.
Did your youth group, what was it called? Do you guys have a name at all for it?
Oh no, I don't think so. I think we just met. It was just the church that we went to was Greater Grace Church, and it
Awesome.
was kids from Washington High School,
Yeah.
from Franklin Pierce. A couple kids from Spanaway came sometimes. And then that group itself, that group of kids ended up going to like Young Life group and like
Yeah, I
we
was
were
gonna
we were just
say
everywhere.
I went to Young Life at
Did
Clover
you?
Park. At Clover
Oh,
Park, yeah.
right
Yeah,
on.
because
Yeah.
like, I didn't know any like, but it was kinda part of my church too, but,
Yeah.
like, I knew a lot of people in their Young Life, so I would go to, like, a lot of their Young Life events. So, like,
Awesome.
they would go, like, snowboarding and, like, going up to the
Yes.
mountains and stuff and do, like, just random, like, we did, like, a 40-hour famine fast or something out in University Place. Yeah, this is like junior year too. So like, yeah, but I wasn't as. I think you sounds like you were a little bit more involved. Like it was just something that like because a lot of kids from my church went out there was part of that Young Life that I
Mhm.
did a lot of those random Young Life events because did we didn't have Young Life at Spanaway, did we? I don't
No,
know.
not
See, that's and I think if we did, I think then I think that would have gave us a more opportunity for um for like us church going kids that
yeah.
to do stuff like that.
Well, totally. Yeah. So so I was really involved in that. I really met my best friend right after I graduated, but she was still in high school. So I still was kind of hanging out with that group. I ended up going on to Bible college and living in Lakewood, which was crazy. That's a whole nother thing. But I really have. So I had a lot of fond memories with Janet. Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah.
Riverside does it for you.
Okay.
Like there's it's tight. There's like a
Yeah.
button. There's a button you can push, and I'll just use this as a promo. If you ever thought about starting your own podcast, Riverside is a great option to use. And if you go into the description, there's a link there where you could sign up, and you could sign up for Riverside for free. You don't even have to pay anything. They give you 2 hours of downloadable time per month and you don't have to pay for it. Anything over that, like kind of how we're doing this podcast, you do have to pay for because I think my current plan gives me 15 hours of downloadable content per month. So that's why I'm able to kind of crank a lot of these episodes out and like this episode that Chrissy's on. So, but yes, if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up and my email is also in the description too. But Riverside is a great option because they also cut out a lot of the ums and ahs, any pauses. The software kind of does that too for you. And it's funny how often I actually repeat myself on these podcasts. I say things twice all the time and it's so annoying, but I love it because with the Riverside software, I could just delete and you just take it's tight as like you just take the words because all your words are kind of written out and you could just delete it. So it's a cool option, but yes, sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
you're good. I think you should have commercials in your podcast. You should be
I
like,
try to. I try
you
to.
should
Yeah.
totally do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on that note, I have adult ADHD, and I'm going to take this all the way back to junior high and high school because I was undiagnosed, and I want people to
Hey,
realize
by
that.
the because I skipped this too. So let's go back to junior high. So keep that thought,
Yeah.
please, real quick.
Yes.
But then I forgot to ask you. So you came to Washington, and then siblings because you mentioned your sister, and like how many siblings do you have? And then how was that like growing up with siblings in
Yeah.
Spanaway?
Yeah. So my sister was, she's, I think she's 18 months older, and my brother's 16 months younger. It's something
Okay.
like that, or it's reversed. So I have an older sister, younger brother, child. A lot of my quirkiness is blamed on that. Uh, yeah. So
I love it though.
I was,
To me, it's just so natural though. So it's
yeah.
like, like I feel like when somebody's quirky, but they're not being natural, and that is what weirds me out. But like you just being your quirky self, I think that's cool. You know what I mean? So it's just like you
Yeah.
being you. Yeah. So
I think if you're colorful, and I think if you're quirky, and like I'm pretty funny. I'm not doing much of it right now. I don't feel like I'm being very funny, but my husband, if I can get him to laugh and I can embarrass him, I have won awards in my mind. So, but going back to, yeah, I really felt like as the middle child, it was my job to bring the fun or to be funny. And I was that person. Like I wanted to throw parties when I was like 7. I wanted to decorate everything for everybody. And I wanted there to be cake and streamers. And that's just how I I thought growing up. But my brother went to Spanaway as well. He was 2 years under me, I believe. And then my sister graduated in 96. So that's when I came into the high school, was in 95, 96, and with the rest of everybody from 98.
Yes.
And it was interesting, going through junior high and high school with her above and then him below. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was something.
Like you always had us, right? Did you kind of
Yeah.
had, yeah, you always had like you were following your sister and your brother was right behind you. So it's
Yeah. Yeah, and then my sister went off. She moved to the East Coast, and so I was kind of there, and I just had my brother. And my brother actually ended up marrying one of our cheerleaders from our class. Yeah. Yeah. I don't I'm gonna let her have her show. But
yes.
yeah, so that was pretty cool.
I've hit her
That was fun.
too, trust me. So yeah, I'm like waiting to hear back from some people.
I might
Like
have to shoot her a text.
all the people you've mentioned, I've reached out to, and like you're one of the only ones that actually responded back positively.
Come on,
But
guys.
not
Come
to
on,
call
guys.
out
Let's go.
people's names. Hey, it's like I feel like they'll come. I don't want to pressure
They
anybody
will.
because I don't want that. I don't want that kind of energy. I like
I
if you want to
got
come
you.
on, I want you to come on, and I
Yeah.
don't want it to be like dragging people. Hey, come on this show.
No.
So yeah.
No, yeah. But yeah, so just I think we fought a lot growing up. And then I think after high school is when I actually bonded really well with my sister, and then I got
Like
along better with them as we turned.
all three of you
Yeah,
fought a
like
lot. I mean, you guys are
I
all close
loved
in
it.
age. You guys are like, so I think it like the closer in age you guys are, I think that's, those battles are going to definitely be
Yeah,
there. So
they did, and we love each other. We after high school we developed our bonds, and that's really good. I just encourage people, if you have a sibling and you're younger, hold on to them.
for sure, for
Work on
sure,
your
for
bond.
sure.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they all went through Nachi's Trail. They all went through Spanaway Junior. All ended up at Spanaway Lake High. Yeah, but we all were kind of our own. Definitely wanted our own place in the world, and so we didn't mingle in each other's social circles at all.
Yeah. No, give you guys all your own space and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you were talking about going back to junior high because it sounded like you were circling back for another
Was I
something.
think that's when I kind of I think I knew, like, my brain was like, I didn't know that females and males thought differently, or that we have different patterns of thinking. Like, men are just straight compartmentalized. Like, you just think the one thing, and then the next thing, and the next thing. And then our brains are just like, I mean, right now I have things queued up in my head, whether I'm going to say it here or it's things I have to do in an hour, or it's what I'm doing tomorrow, and they're just floating around in there. And I thought that was just how everybody was. I think in junior high really was when I was like, I have so many thoughts, and I'm super active, and my parents never did anything about it, and I've never been medicated for it. And I really don't think people should be. I think we just need to let people be who they are, and not suppress that. And it's beautiful. Like, life is so much more colorful when you can just be you. And
Well, I also think that in today's age, we are all ADHD because of the technology, though. It's like everything is designed for us to be exactly have a million thoughts going on
yeah, for sure.
at the same time. So, and that's why what's funny is I think actually being whoever, because it's not me, but whoever is able to focus, like whoever has any type of focus is real, like a real superpower.
For
And
sure.
because I just feel like most of us just don't have that. It's so hard today with all the like I said with all the social medias, and then like all the like the way just regular media tries to get you, everybody's trying to get your attention in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
And so, and then with all the like responsibilities that a lot of us have at our ages now, people have kids, and there's a million things going on in everybody's lives. So it's, that's why I really feel like, man, those who are able to focus, I'm so jealous of them, because I really think that's kind of something I wish I could had more of, at my own disposals. So
Yeah.
because I think I have ADHD. I haven't been
Like,
diagnosed,
you don't
but
need a diagnosis.
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure just the way my brain thinks, it's because I'm all over the place half the time
Are you
anyway.
too?
So
Oh my
Oh, for
gosh.
sure, for sure.
That's I love that.
I feel like you could tell, like, I don't know. So if you've watched that, like, heard me on this podcast, there is probably so many sentences I have not completed. So like and then now, like, if people like look for this, and it's because I'm already thinking ahead of the next thought that I don't even
Okay.
finish my sentence of the original thought. So like if you go back and you can, I mean, and I've probably tried to cut and edit a lot of those parts out, but there's a lot of times where I'm talking and I don't even finish the sentence because I'm already thinking of the next thing, and then I start saying the next thing already. So that's just kind of like me self-diagnosing myself on YouTube for the internet
Oh
to
my
see.
gosh.
But yeah,
It's
so
perfect. It's perfect. I
yeah.
would I would be able to have a conversation with you for like at least 10 hours.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Which is dangerous. But
Yeah.
so that's funny that you even noticed that in junior high. You know, I was clueless during all that time of like how people think. You don't realize everybody's kind of insecure looking to people. Like, oh no, like everybody really is insecure. Because even people that you would never think that are insecure. So it's, and that just like, that boggles my mind because it's like, dude, it always felt like you had it together, or like you just don't know until you sit
Yeah.
down and kind of get the chance to talk to people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So, yeah, junior high, I think, I also imagine having, your best friend. Janet is very focused and very driven, and she is very accomplished, in my opinion. So I would always like observe her and then come back and reflect and go. So she just always amazed me. And even Todd's brain, I think in high school, I really admired that. But then I'd see like you, and I'd see just other guys like Jeff Abbott and all these really good athletes, and watch them and observe them, and then listen to you all talk or speak. And I just figured, like, I don't know, I just like I never found my real circle of friends. I just had friends in every circle, and I thought that
yeah,
was pretty cool, like thinking back on that now and like talking to my son. And he kind of is the same way. He has
yeah,
friends in every circle, but he doesn't have a circle. So his circle actually involves a lot of different circles. And I never felt bad about, just having a couple friends. My grandpa, he always told me it's better to have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. So having
for
like
sure.
really quality people around you versus having a ton, you really can learn a lot. I had learned a lot from observing. I learned, like, for watching Travis play football. Like, he's a big dude and he's out there doing the thing. And I was just like, I remember thinking, good for him. And like, man, if he can do that, I can run the Swedish Mile with these soccer girls and
Yeah.
try to be faster than everybody. And I'd watch y'all play your sports, and it was pretty cool just being an observer and having all those circles. And I'm encouraging my son to do the same thing.
I think sometimes the problem is too, like if your circle is a little bit wider, like, and I've said this before that I felt like, man, I couldn't figure out who I was because I was trying to please like all the different circles of like, whatever. So, and then
Yeah.
it's fun, and then but then like kind of like you said, like when you have your core group,
Yeah.
that's like the group where I felt like I could relax and just be myself and just, and so that's why it's kind of interesting that you bring that up. And I think that's just a good point too.
Yeah.
It's hard to like develop like in-depth relationships with like so many people, and it's just it's we time is finite, right? And so there you don't we don't have that time to
Yeah.
really have to invest in so many different people. So yeah,
Yeah, and I too, I was thinking too about how neat it is to have friendships where you can have time pass, and I can think of so many times like I've needed advice and I knew exactly who to call, and it was Janet, or exactly who to call, and it was Adrian, or like Katie White showed up and rescued me at one point in my life. And so, like, just so thankful that I was able to develop these relationships early on, that I knew that I had these really solid people to like lean on, and they didn't expect anything. They just were there. And that's pretty cool.
that is cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when
Yeah.
it comes to major life events, right?
Oh yeah.
And, for people to, come through for you like that. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Because a lot of people just don't have anybody. So
Right.
it's, and that's really sad. So that,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but I was too. Whenever time we think about Janet, I think about skipping lunch and Mr. Wright stopping us at the gate and going, "Where are you
yes,
going?" And we would be like, "We're on official ASB duty." And like we drive to her house, Janet's house in Spanaway. And her mom would be like, "Oh, Christi, come in," and she would like make me food, and Janet would be like, "Oh my gosh!" And like I loved eating at Shim's house. Shim would like everything. Like I love Korean food. And so I would go back to school in a Korean food coma. And I had weightlifting sixth period with Mr. Roback. Coach Roback did not like me. He would always go, "Flirt, are you ever coming to class?" And then the day that we had to get the signatures that we had passed the class to graduate, I
yes.
remember him looking at it and looking at me and looking back at the paper and going, I'm only signing this because I don't want you back in my class next year."
Wow. Damn, coach.
I know.
That's
I know.
crazy.
I know. We skipped so many sixth periods with a weightlifting class with him to do ASB stuff. And it was always official ASB stuff. But I do have really, really good memories of like him like glaring at me, like, "Who are you? Are you in my class?" "Yes, I'm in your class."
That's messed up.
Sometimes. Yeah, he was good people though. I really appreciated him.
Yeah, I had a different experience, obviously, because I played football. So, and
Yeah.
I had him first period. So, because I probably went as many times as you did, but I had a different relationship with coach, so it was
Sure.
different. Yeah, so it was different for me. And
Yeah.
yeah, so did you? Because that was one of my, like I said, I checked out. Did you? How were you your senior year? Because like my senior year, I felt like I checked out a lot
Oh my
that
gosh.
year, and
How could you? We had a robacue. How could you check out from a robacue? Do you remember that? Going to Spanaway Lake?
1,000%, 1,000%. And if that
That's good
person
stuff.
ever comes on this show, I mean, that's like, I can't wait because that's basically what his thumbnail would say would be barbecue. That's just so easy to, but what do you remember from that experience, from that day, from those? 'Cause actually, there was maybe a couple, but yeah, I'm curious to like what you remembered from that because I'm surprised you're the first to bring that up, actually, too.
Really?
Yeah.
About that day? I remember the chaos of trying to tell everybody without letting the administrators know. Like, we didn't
Yes.
want our principal and vice principal to know. So there was a lot of like excitement and a little bit of chaos in the communication. And it was basically like playing telephone and
Yes.
like then double checking. We all didn't have cell phones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for everybody to organize that without the cell phones was amazing,
So
actually.
that was amazing. And I remember from a administrative standpoint, Bennett and I were like, "How are we going to do this without getting in trouble?" Because we have to be in school. Like she and I had to check in, and we had to always check in with the ASB office to do our things, and we have things to do. And I remember when we got busted, when Mr. Wright, do you remember Mr. Wright showing up?
Yeah, I think well, I think I remember Mr. Wright coming to one, but I also remember, I think Bonnie came too. I
Bonnie
think
showed up. Yep.
yeah. So, and I remember them checking coolers and
Yeah.
stuff. So, okay, we were there.
So
Okay, that's what I remember. I remember them like looking in the coolers to see, and like,
checking the
dude,
cars. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, dude, I mean, I don't, from what I remember, I'm like, we didn't have like alcohol or anything, but
No,
we were
it
still
wasn't like that.
skipping school. That
We
was the
were
biggest
skipping
thing.
school.
Yeah, that
That
was the
was,
thing. That was the bigger thing. So, like, for them to like look through our stuff is like, dude, we don't, I mean, it's all sodas and like burgers. Like,
yeah, we
literally,
weren't
we're
doing
not
anything.
supposed, yeah, exactly. Like,
We
we're
were
not
just
supposed,
skipping school. Like
yes.
the worst thing we did that day was skip school, then we're doing okay. We weren't
Yeah,
doing
that
anything bad.
exactly. It's like we're not gonna skip school and then like drink at this park with like all these people, and I don't know. To
In
me, I
the
didn't
middle
think
of the
that was.
day.
Yeah, I didn't think that was. I didn't think that was like smart if we even tried to do that. But like just because once they showed up, it was like gig is up, guys. The
Yeah.
jig is up.
Yeah.
So
I remember that feeling. I remember them showing up and we were all like, "Oh my gosh." And then we had a different so while everyone was having that experience, Janet and I I think Amber was with us too. I'm trying to remember who was all in the car, but we ended up having to go back before everybody, and we ended up in Bonnie's office, and we got a talking to, and they wanted it to sound like we were in trouble, but they wanted it to be like, we're going to say that you all are in trouble. We're going to play a joke. And they said they were, they were suspending us to play a joke on everybody. And I was like, that's like the lamest joke. You guys are not, that's not
Good
fun.
at
That's not cool.
this. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not good at this.
You guys are not good at this at
You are
all.
not good at this, trying to get everybody back thing. Like, nobody cares if Janet and I get suspended. I guess you showed them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because all that would have done would be like, man, thanks for taking one for the team, guys.
Yeah.
Like, and we're like, we wouldn't, you know,
No, that was fun. I think the excitement was in we're doing something naughty and skipping school. It was super, I think it was innocent compared to what people are doing these days.
for sure. It was,
Yeah.
but I think it was, like it was kind of a viral moment before a viral thing, just for our school, right? Just for
Yeah.
our class, and for like to do something it was like word of mouth, and like,
Yeah.
before cell phones, and like, everybody's like, yeah, I'd love to leave school to go have a barbecue. That sounds great.
Yes.
Like it's not hard to try to convince people to leave to go eat some food somewhere else, so.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I remember actually stepping out of the car, like getting out of, I think it was Janet's car. It was her silver car. And we got out of the car, and I remember looking at everybody going, whoa, just like, how did this happen? It was pretty cool. It was a good feeling.
That is. I also think back to, like graduation, because I had a feeling you were responsible for me being able to speak at graduation. Is that true or not? That's something that I kind of feel like I felt like you had a hand in it.
No, I don't know. I think that there were a lot of people who there was a lot of talk about who would do it. And I think that there were some people pulling for certain people.
For
And
sure.
And I think that there were some very persuasive people involved. Yeah, I think when I think to high school, there are a couple of faces that come to mind, but it's definitely you and Robert, and then a couple of other athletes. But you definitely represent Spanaway in my mind. Like, you got your faces pop up for sure, and your sunglasses.
For sure. Thank you. Thank you. Did you work at all during high school at all? I didn't work at all during high school, but did you have a
Yeah,
job, or what was your
yeah.
first job, by the way?
So my first job, I had three when I was in high school. So my first job,
Damn.
I know. I was 14 and 15, so think, before high school. My dad worked for a basement waterproofing company in Parkland. And so they needed someone to clean their offices. And so after school, I would go and clean their offices 3 nights a week. And then I didn't do that for very long, because after that, do you remember when the Sonics were in the Tacoma Dome?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so there
Yes.
down in Freight House Square, there was a Mexican restaurant called La Fondita, and our friends from church owned that Mexican restaurant, and they needed wait staff, they needed people to serve,
On
and
game
that's when I
days.
yes, and I got to meet the whole team, because they came in after a game and they got for Mexican food, and so I got to serve them and their meals. That was pretty cool. So that was 16-ish, 17, and then my senior year. Um, I worked at Wild Waves.
I didn't
Yeah,
know
do you remember
that.
Wild Waves? Yeah,
A thousand
I
percent. Yeah. I love
okay,
Wild
yeah.
Waves. Yeah.
So I worked in the Wild Thing house, so I was the house person, so I would have the roller coaster go, and then I'd bring it in and have it slow down and stop or let it go again, and so I was the one who would say, "Welcome to the Wild Thing. Once seated, please pull down on your shoulder harness until it's secured to your body. Please remove all loose articles and items and set them on the left. An attendant will be by to pick it up for you. We do regret that we cannot retrieve items that fall during the ride." And then they
Your your voice hits still. Like you could still like
so you could hear it over the whole thing, and then I'd let him go. My favorite thing to do, and I know this is probably not a good thing. So the military guys would come in, and they'd come in drunk. And so they'd get on the ride. And then I would say, okay, the ride doesn't go unless you sing bingo. And now I'm in high school, right? What do I know? I'm
yeah.
not cool. So they'd start singing bingo. So I'd let it go. And then I go, okay, do you guys want to go again? And they'd be like, yeah. Okay, you got to sing bingo again. So then they'd go again. And then if they were Marines, I'd tell them they had to sing the Army, march along, sing a song. If they want to do it again, these guys would go like 5 or 6 times until they would throw up.
Oh my gosh.
that was my ADD showing. I just like, I'm gonna mess with these guys. And I didn't have any reason to do it except they were annoying and they were drunk on
You're
my
at
ride.
work and you're bored too.
I'm bored.
So, yeah, you're at work and you're bored. So that sounds
Yeah,
like something fun to like kind of do. So
yeah. We were definitely bored at that shop. So I did that and I drove my grandmother's 79 Plymouth Volare my senior year to high school. It was mustard yellow.
nice.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that I ran out of gas so many times with my soccer team in my car just because I just wasn't paying attention. Yeah, good times.
Wow. Great times. Yeah. It's funny because
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny just all the cars that we had back then in during that time period because it's
Why can I
I had
remember
a
what you
87 I had an 87 Chevy Cavalier. It wasn't yeah, it was like it was blue and yeah, 87
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean that's but I felt like I only drove it basically my senior year though. So I didn't get my license. I mean, I was like late on everything. I didn't get my license till like almost my senior year, like halfway through my junior year. So I didn't. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Where like how old were you when you got your or like when did you get
My
your license?
license?
What grade
The
were you?
day
Yeah.
the day I turned 16. I was in there. I was at that.
So you were a sophomore. You were a
So
sophomore already,
16,
or were
I
you
was yeah, no, I
junior?
was. No, I was a sophomore when I was 16. I turned 18 when before we graduated. So I was 18
Yeah, right
in my senior
before.
yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't turn 16 until after, like, well, right after our sophomore year, because my birthday's in the summer. So,
Yeah, okay.
but then even summer happened and I didn't have my license yet. And then, yeah, like I said, I didn't, it probably not until like maybe 6 months later, I finally got my license. Man, maybe even almost a year, 9 months later. But I feel like I was just like so behind on like a lot of like random stuff like that. So,
That's okay.
yeah. Yeah.
You were just
No.
chilling. You were just chilling, as
I
the
was
kids
just
say.
chilling, and like I was friends with a lot of people that had
I had
cars and stuff.
cars.
Yeah, so I was basically bumming a ride, from a lot of people, and so. But if there was somebody that you could reconnect with from high school or those days, is there anybody that comes to mind?
Oh, yeah. I think about Lauren a lot. I think she was really sweet, and I ran into her quite a few years ago. I think like 7 years ago at the park in downtown Puyallup, and I just remember thinking about how sweet she was, and that she'd probably be a really fun person to be, to hang out with now as an adult. Yeah,
For sure, for sure.
yeah, yeah. She's a sweetie pie.
Like random, I love those random where you bump into people. Do you have any others? Do you have the most
Yes,
random Spanaway person you've ran into at like the most random place ever?
yes. Yes, I'm going to tell you a story. I was divorced and I spent about 6 years being single and dating. And I do not envy anyone who's out in the dating scene these days because it's hard.
For
And it
sure.
was 10 years ago and 11 years ago, but I was online dating and I ended up at a movie theater with someone we went to high school with. It was so random. Yeah, Robbie and I went on a date, and it's kind of funny because I had a big old crush on him in high school, and we ended up on this at this movie theater, and I was like, it never came, nothing came of it, but. I just remember the whole time we were in this movie. I can't remember the movie, but I just remember thinking, this is so random. Like, this is the most random thing. No, but he's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. I think he's married now and he's got kids, and I'm really happy for everybody that's happy. But I
Yes.
remember thinking, even like months
That is
later,
so
thinking
random.
back,
That is
yeah, like
crazy random because 10 years ago is still a long time after
that's a
high
long time
school.
ago.
That's why
Yeah, maybe
I mean,
it's
because we've
11
been
or
out of
12
high
years.
school
Yeah,
so yeah, I mean,
so long.
we've been out of high school so long. That's like the halfway point of kind of like where, like that's because that's 10 plus years ago. But then
Yeah,
10 plus years ago was 10 plus years after we've been in high school. So that's
I know.
still like a long time. And then how did that work where you guys didn't realize that? Is it like, was the date like, who catfished who? Somebody catfished somebody. It feels
No
like,
one. I
no,
don't even know. I don't even know. It's a little it's a little fuzzy, but I do remember like showing up and just being like, this is crazy right
You can't
now.
write that. You can like, you know what I mean? That's hard to write.
Yeah.
That's hard to write in a script where something like
Yeah.
that actually happens, but that's hilarious though. I love
I
that.
know.
So,
Yeah.
cuz
I'm trying to think of, but you see people out and about, and I'll tell you, I've gotten off Facebook since the beginning of the year because I realized that when you run into people, you're already keeping tabs on each other, just through
yeah.
social media. And I really wanted to have authentic encounters with people like, oh my gosh,
Yes.
how are you? And like actually have a moment to engage. I think COVID really sort of messed with us, and especially
Yeah.
the younger generations. And I really want to be an example for my kids. It's okay to talk to people that you haven't seen in a while, and it's okay to engage, and it's okay to even hug and or just shake hands or elbow bump or fist bump or whatever you're comfortable with. But gosh, we had to disconnect and connect to the internet because that's all we had when we had to like be away from each other. And yeah, so I got off Facebook and I'm on Instagram, and I'm doing a couple of other things and starting this podcast. I'm
Yeah.
trying to engage with people
Well, I
that
mean,
way.
you're going to be on YouTube. I kind of call this
Oh yeah.
podcast like long form Facebook, because you're basically on YouTube now, just being on this
Yeah.
podcast. And it's, I think people appreciate you being able to like share all the stories that you have, like that we have just about our
Yeah.
time at Spanaway. And so it's, because me and Jay Thomas were kind of talking about this too, just like there's something about Facebook that is just, I feel like I have to be on there just because of communication, but outside of that, I really don't like, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I have no idea what it is. It just doesn't, feels weird. Like I rarely post on there, but it's just there's something about it that just kind of turns me off. But then YouTube is kind of the exact opposite of that. Like YouTube gives me energy. I also feel good about like also feel validated about videos I post that don't get views because it's like, oh, that just shows that that video is not good enough for the audience or for the algorithm or
Yeah.
whatever. But you were talking about also kind of being on YouTube potentially.
Yeah, and yes, something I really love about what you just said is what I've loved about watching these so far leading into talking about that is you're so authentic, and we sort of try to script our lives. I think we do that just I think in general, like
Thousand.
we have this idea in our head of how it's supposed to be, like every conversation or everything through the day, and like we're disappointed when things don't turn out that way. And the thing that you had said earlier before we jumped on here was, you're not scripted, and that's something that I really love, and I really hope a lot of people can lean into that, is just really being authentic like that. I just love the word authentic because there's nothing else really that matches it. Just to be yourself and don't be scripted, and it's okay to be nervous. I'm nervous, and this podcast that
That's why I
starting.
wear these glasses because they make me less nervous. Like I probably don't need them now. In the beginning, oh, dude, I'm super nervous and like,
Yeah.
so it's like you said, it's okay to be nervous, but I
Yeah.
also feel like people can also they can also sense not only authenticity but also
Mhm.
effort. So like obviously you want to be yourself, but if you're just being kind of lazy about like the product that you're trying to present to people, then I
Yeah.
feel like that also could be a turnoff. But like, man, if people
Yeah.
see that you're trying hard and you're trying to bring a good product and you want
Yeah.
people to enjoy themselves and I think that also matters. But I think sometimes people get too caught up in like trying to make something perfect, and because there's probably like 10 people that said they're going to start a YouTube channel and nobody started one except for maybe James, and but we and him started at the same time. So
Really.
but outside of that, yeah, so that's why I'm always like
Yeah.
trying to promote, especially people our age, because I feel like we need more content. And I have like a ton of ideas. Like just you, like I like if you were to start a channel, and this is just big. This is kind of now I'm kind of going on random. See, I
It's
kind of
okay.
right. So, but I am so fascinated with this Aldi spot now because I'm like, dude, take me through one. If you did a little video just kind of showing me what they
I'm gonna
got
do
over
it.
there, I would
Yes.
love watching that. Like, and I
Yeah.
and I try to tell the boys, and I was trying to tell like because Jay even brought up the fact, and I that's why this appeals to our age group. Like, I think a lot of us love grocery shopping. It's just like it's that's a is that a 40-year-old thing to say?
No,
I don't know what it
yeah.
is, but like I am and I'm like, dude, anything you do there, and I think any of that content would be great. You can conduct interviews there while going through the aisles. You can go and look at each product. I mean, there's so many different types of like
I'm
content
laughing
that I can
because yes, I'm laughing because yes, like
and
it's
we
so
would
it's
all watch that because we would because I'm just so fat. Like I was visiting my cousins in Tennessee, and like man, I'm so pissed because I drove by a Publix. I don't know if you've ever heard of
yeah.
Publix. I've
Yeah,
never been
I
in
love
one.
Publix.
I've never been in one, and I'm like so pissed that I didn't get And then now you brought up Aldi, and I was like, because I've
Yeah.
been to one in Germany. I've been to Aldi in Germany, but I've never been to one in the States, and I'm sure
Oh my
they're
gosh.
different, right? So, and but there's that's just
You know
I'm
what?
talking about 40-year-old content.
Yeah.
They're so wide open, guys. Just make
Yeah.
your YouTube channels, and I swear, if we all just go to the grocery store and just watch it, I'm telling you, it's.
You got me crying. I'm laughing so hard because
I think there's a whole thing around it, and I try to tell like people our age, like, and it's just funny because I was also talking about this with Christy, how like I found this walk the other day, and it just works so well, and I'm like so happy with it, and just like and then just like random kitchen appliances that you might find somewhere. It's like, dude, are we at that age? Like,
yes,
or
we
like right? It used to be like these, and I'm sure there's still people that love like, oh, I got these new shoes or stuff like that. But now we're like talking about
yeah.
kitchen appliances now, and we're talking about the different kind of like I was in a group chat and somebody and it's so funny, but because I mentioned ranch in one of my videos about and then somebody was like, oh, I have this amazing, and these are classmates,
Yeah.
and this person was like, "Oh, I have an amazing ranch recipe." And I was like, "Oh, well, share it." And then I'm like, "Dude, I can't believe we're having ranch conversations now in our 40s." But that's what I feel like that's lacking from YouTube personally. So, but I mean, and
Yeah.
then obviously all the things that were outside of that, but I mean, I think I was just talking to a couple people about gardening, and then like not that I'm a gardener, but like it's interesting to
It's
find that
interesting.
yeah, that people like are interested, like that are like garden. And so it's just like, I don't know. It's just like, hey, I crave for that type of stuff to watch and to
Yeah.
consume. And so that's why it's like anybody our age that is creating anything, I'm like salivating over it. So
It hits different when you're 40. It totally does.
it's different.
We and this is totally an example. So my husband's a drill sergeant. We're at Fort Leonard Wood. I don't mind sharing that. It's there's nothing to do here. There's nothing to do.
Yeah.
I get my joy from walking down the aisles at Aldi because it is aesthetically pleasing to me. It is.
Yes.
I love parking at the parade field and watching the troops. There we have Marines and we have Navy and we have every branch except Coast Guard here.
Wait,
And I have
hold up real quick. So you go to Aldi more than you go to the commissary? Wow. Wow.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I know. It's
Okay.
better. It's better. The prices are better. The food's better. I mean, they have blueberry goat cheese there. It's better.
Growing up, it was like solidified in my brain from my parents was like commissary is the cheapest without a doubt, hands down. And I have to disagree, right? It's like I don't think so either. I think they're starting to get one over on on the troops and stuff because I feel like you
Yeah.
can find better deals off base all the time, but
Well, yeah,
it
and
might not
the
all
other
be at one place, but
well, and here, so this is training and doctrine. So this is, I mean, 70 something percent of the people that live here at any given time are soldiers. They're just trainees. They're coming in for their basic or they're coming in for their advanced training, and all they have is the commissary and the PX and the small PM. I don't want to go to the commissary on the weekend when they all have their passes. I actually work at the PX here and I work on Sunday, and I work at the jewelry counter and I stay in my little corral because it is packed in there. And
really, because
bless
there's
them,
nowhere else to go.
there's nowhere else to go and they can't leave the base, and really just bless them because they're really trying to they're trying to get everything on their list. They're trying to not be in basic training. They're trying to not be at AIT. And so, I love talking to them, and like there's
Yeah.
17, there's some 17, there's 18, 19, 20-year-olds. There are 40-year-olds that are here um going through AIT. I love talking to them and I love engaging them that way so that they feel like they can separate from what they're actually going through. And that I get joy out of that because I know that it helps them. But
Look at you
yeah,
playing
I don't.
therapist at the PX. You're like the
Well,
therapist at the That's awesome.
yeah, and a lot of them are getting their engagement rings for their boo things, and I have to talk to them about it, and
Yeah, dope.
and sort of help them through that. But um, I was getting to the point of like we moved into this house here when we moved to this installation in Heinz. The blinds here don't have cords. They're the ones that you just like can lift the bottom of, and they
Oh
go up
yeah.
and
They're
down.
like stiff and like
I lost my mind. No, they're like the blinds that open and you can do this through and look at your neighbors, but you still have to lift. There's no cord. They're up and down. And I just lost my mind because I didn't have to mess with the cords. I was like, this is what 40 is. I mean, I'm flipping out about blinds right now. And when the cabinets have that soft close, where you can slam it,
yes,
but it doesn't
slam it, but
slam
then
and it
it
just
pauses and then just goes slow motion inside and it
I'll
just
sit there for
closes.
5 minutes trying to slam the thing, and it is 40. It's something. It hits different when you're 40 for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
ugh,
those
I don't
so
like
I know.
that.
So yeah, the blinds basically. So how did they stay up again? Or did like
They
they
just you
you just put
just
them up and they just stay up.
you
And
just
then there's
lift
like a
them up and they stay there, and you just
and then
pull
there's
them
a
down, and
button. No, you pull them down. There's no button or anything. Also, they just wow. That's
they're just
that's kind of
blinds.
tight.
I know, and I was like, if they sprung
That
for
is-
anything in these housing installations, it was these blinds. Woo. Yeah. So we're actually getting ready to move again. We have moved every 2 years.
That's the military for you, though.
I
So
know. So and my kids are they're awesome. They're adjusted, they're well behaved, they're smart, and
nice.
I couldn't ask for a better situation because it could have turned out a lot different for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ages
they're
and
wonderful.
grades.
Oh, so Everly will be 8 in July. She's a July 3rd baby, and then she'll go into second grade. And then Garrison's graduating in a month and a half. He's 18 in 2 days. I just still can't even wrap my mind around that. And so he'll graduate in May. And thing I do love about the South, in the mid, like this area of the country, is they start school early and they get out early. So they start in August and they're out in May, and so summer starts before it gets too hot. So yeah, he'll be 18, and I can't with that.
But so it's funny because you say that summer starts before it gets too hot. But then, like when school starts, isn't it super hot when school starts though?
I think so. And I will say that the humidity here is awful. It is terrible. So we have one of those giant inflatable water parks that we throw in the yard, and there are community pools all over the base. And you literally, before you get to the storm door, so you can open the main door, and before you even hit the storm door, your hair is trashed, your makeup's
Yeah,
coming off
yeah.
your face. You're sweating everywhere. We're going to Texas next. So I can do that heat. I can't do this humidity where it's like 94 degrees and 99% humidity. I can't do it. It's too much.
That is brutal. That is
It's
brutal.
brutal. Yeah.
Would you say you have a similar, you just brought up your kids. Do you have a similar parenting style that your parents had with you and your siblings?
I've thought a lot about that. No, I grew up in a very, I would say, strict house as far as like you're going to church. We're going to church. We're going to church 3 times a week. We do go to church. However, I give my kids a little bit of different freedom than what I had, where they don't have to tuck their shirt into their pants. They don't have to. So that's how my parents were. They were just very strict, and they spent a lot of time at church and with us at church, and no, we're just not that way. We do, like, we believe in God, and we have a lot of convictions about things. I would say we're a little more conservative, and I'm not forcing my kids to share in that. I'm letting them think their own things and setting a good example for them, and I'm not telling them how to be or what to do. And so it's really interesting though, because there's no rebellion, it's really happy, like light, and there's a lot of energy here in the house. Like it's different energy. We parent a little bit different, but I just give them a little bit more. It's a little bit of different strict, but it's a little more military strict.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say we're just a little bit different. I did learn a lot from my parents, and my dad actually died when I was 9, and I have a really amazing stepdad. Yeah.
Mm,
So to watch my husband be a good stepdad to my son, I
mm,
I'm so blessed. Like it's amazing. So I got to watch my stepdad be a good parent, and now I get to watch my husband do that to my son. And he's an amazing dad too. But there are some similarities and there are a lot of differences. And I also think you have to parent for the kid. I don't think every kid gets to be parented the same way. I think you have to know your kid, and like you can't I don't parent Garrison the same way I parent Everly at all. They're
for
two
sure.
completely different people. Yeah. So different punishments, different tones, I have to use different verbiage. They're also different ages. They're 10 years apart. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So different. Yeah.
No, that's interesting too. My parents were pretty strict. My parents left Spanaway my senior year because my dad went to the Bible college out here to become a pastor. That's why my senior year was just kind of like all over the place. It was kind of
Oh, yeah.
random and it was just, like my parents leaving and then I ended up staying in Lakewood with family there. So but no, I just think that's interesting. That's just kind of like finding out all this like interesting tidbits from all of our classmates and stuff. I'm gonna.
Well, yeah, so I have, as I said, I had friends from Franklin Pierce, and I met Adrienne. I was, I think, 19, so she's just a couple years younger. She's still in high school, and I don't even remember when we started hanging out. We just like were like, I think we just decided we were cool. Like, you're cool. Oh, you're cool. And then we like never stopped hanging out. And I mean, we worked across the street from each other. At one point, she worked down at the Melting Pot in downtown Tacoma, and I worked up in the Horizon Pacific building for a medical billing company. And so she'd take her break and call me, and I'd hang out the window from the top floor, and we'd yell at each other. We have a lot to talk about, but I think about a year ago, maybe, we had started talking about the idea. We have such relatable, we're both been divorced. Like, she was in the Air Force. I'm a military spouse. We have kids. We've had these crazy jobs. Did you know I was an exterminator?
No,
I know. Yeah, I did the thing, killed the rats, and
did you
came
have
face
to
to
get certified for that?
Yes, so you do get certified. It's actually a pretty it's three different tests to get your certification to be an applicator. So the reason I did it was because someone said girls don't do it, and I was like, hold on,
This.
I'll be right back. Yeah. And so we just were like, we have so much fun talking on the phone. Similar to just talking to you. Like, it's just you're just talking, and
Yeah, we're just talking. That's why I'm
yeah,
like, everybody that's afraid to come on, man, I don't know what you're afraid of because basically it's
you're
just
just
us
talking.
talking and like,
Yeah, it is
yeah, it's
relatable. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah,
We
we
just talk
just
about old people things, like 40-year-old people things. Sorry, 40
blinds. We're talking
year
about
olds.
walks and blinds, and
Yes,
yeah,
we're talking about appliances and ranch dressing recipes.
recipes,
So yeah,
Yeah, so I
but
think we just sort of were like we had talked about it a little bit, and then it grew into this thing. And then even at Christmas I was opening up, microphone piece, big mics and things, and it was happening. And so we recorded a little bit and played it back, and we were ridiculous. We were absolutely ridiculous. And so we had to get over the nervousness of knowing that there was a recording device, between
yes,
us. And
yeah,
she's in Texas, and so when I get there, it'll be different. But we're recording 20 episodes, and then we'll release them slowly, and then we'll keep recording until we get to 56, and then it's hysterical, random. It just might be nonsense to some people, and it might hit home for other people. I've had two autoimmune diseases I've been diagnosed with, and I found out because I went to get my tattoo worked on, and my whole arm turned black and didn't know why. And like, who knows, if maybe someone out there, maybe they have something relatable, and like I just want people to not feel alone. Like,
yes,
we have these experiences just like you do, and it's okay to talk about it. And
yes,
I think if you think you're a weirdo and it might be ADHD, it's cool. Like, I'm cool. Like, we don't
yeah,
need to be medicated. Let's just be cool. So
yeah.
we're gonna talk about all kinds of stuff. I have secrets I've never told her, never told anybody, that we're gonna talk about. And it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be fun.
No, that's amazing. Because I
Yeah.
feel like I said, that's the type of content that I am looking for is,
Yeah.
things that people our age could learn from, And then the other reason why I'm also stressing it's like I said, it's been easier to get a lot of the guys to come on, but I'm definitely stressing I want more girls to come on to not only feel comfortable, but I feel like a lot of you have stories that other women can learn from, like just all the like medical stuff that you just brought up for yours. You left it. That's a great trailer to kind of look
Yeah.
out for your podcast. And yeah, because I think kind of like I was saying, like our competition when you make content for YouTube and like people our age, our competition is really Netflix. That's how you kind of have to think of it, is Netflix, cable channels, Disney, and Amazon. Because like I said, most people are watching this on their phone like right now, as far as, when this is going to be published in April of 2025. But I feel like later on down the line, as people find your podcast, my podcast, we're all going to be watching this on our TVs, And so that's why I
Yeah.
feel like, that's why there's so much growth. So like me starting this, you starting yours, basically, guys, if you guys just start in 2025, I'm
Yep.
telling
Do
you,
it.
you'll be yeah, you'll be
Let's do
way
it.
ahead. You'll get better, like we're learning.
Yeah.
Look, Chrissy's learning. I'm sure like you're
Yep.
learning,
Every
every
day.
episode that you record, just
Yep.
different things. And so what would you say is because like I think people are starting to get tired of me telling them to start, but if there was like some sort of advice for people that have a remote thought of starting a YouTube or even a podcast or anything that has to do with kind of like something with media, putting themselves out there, what would you say to those people?
I would say if there's something that's important to you that like you I would even say manifest, but if there's something that's like the most important thing to you that you feel like if you could talk about it, just get your camera out and get the app and just start talking and play it back and listen to yourself and throw it out there. Because when you think about the millions and millions of people who might potentially come across this and identify, and reach out and go, hey, I felt very alone until I heard you talking about this. Or we do have a lot of people that we have similarities to, and there are people out there with who probably don't even know they have autoimmune diseases that I've had, and like the surgeries I've had to go through, or the medications I've had to take, or what has worked for me at this point because I'm in remission for one of those because I just found something randomly that is amazing and works, and I feel 30. I don't even feel 40. I'm 46 in June.
Yeah.
But like
Yep.
I'm on my feet 6 to 8 hours a day, and I feel like I could go another 8 hours after I still go to the gym right after I'm taking care of myself, and I want to be a good example for my kids, and like those are the kinds of things I want to talk about and have somebody go, what did you do? Or like, same, like, yes, I love this, same. And if you have that, even if you're a mechanic and you're like, I'm finding all these really cool little knickknacks and things, and these are really important and they make my job easier, just get on and start talking about it. But that's how we're all going to be connected. If this is the way that we're talking to each other, and you're so far away, and I'm in Missouri and Adrian's in Texas, and we've got people back home in Washington, and this is how we can connect. Let's do it.
Yes.
I'll watch your podcast. Just send me the link.
No,
Yeah.
that's why I'm so hyped for you to for your pod to drop it. Yeah,
Okay.
if you could go back to 1998, the day we graduated, and stop yourself at PLU and have a conversation with yourself, what would that conversation look like?
And knowing what I know now,
Yeah.
I would say go for it. Whatever it is, just don't hold back. Just go for it. Whatever it is, that's the answer for everything for the future. Just do it.
Let's party.
Let's party. Yeah. Just I held back a lot, and I think that if I was a people pleaser quite a bit growing up. So I think if I had actually just done something for myself, obviously I'd be in a different place in life, but I tell my son the same thing, like don't do things that you think people want you to do things that you want to do. And that's what I would tell myself for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for joining us, Chrissy, and we will see you guys all on the next one.
All right. Bye guys.